Kids in Scott County, Illinois now have more space for reading and play at the Winchester Public Library without having to feel cramped. WGEM's Claire Edlund shares how this new addition to the library has finally come together after years in the making.
If you could see pictures of when they were doing summer reading programs and they had the one room, there were people sitting on top of each other. There was no room.
People who grew up in Winchester remember going to the public library that was built in 1910.
I used to come here and get Hardy Boys books, and I would sit on the floor. When I was little, only about half of this library was here.
Now there's another half. In addition to the library is a new children's room. Today, Mandy Sipes and dozens of others celebrated the new space for kids' books, toys, and activities.
I like it.
Officials at the public library say the children's edition has been more than a decade in the works.
There have been so many people involved, former board members, and there were a few of us that were not giving up. We said this will happen because we have so many good programs for the children.
Marilyn Fetter with the board says the library got a $188,000 ag grant through the Illinois State Library 10 years ago to help construct it. That money ran out and put work on hold. However, an Illinois Library board member says this project needed to get done.
Well, it's important today, and it's important for libraries to be able to offer space.
The state board and other donors got them to the finish line. And kids like Ronnie Hubbard are excited to reap the benefits.
Every once in a while, they come here, and sometimes after school.
A space to keep young minds growing. Claire Edlund, WGEM News, Winchester, Illinois.
And now here's some more information about the new children's room. It all started out as an idea back in 2010. The project was almost done this summer, but it got set back after wrong materials were delivered and then set back again with the cost of materials increasing because of inflation. The library received about $500,000 more from grants and city funds that helped to finish the project.